Lessons learned versus Sydney. Let's get into it. So before I talk about a couple of lessons that I personally learned during that Sydney game, I do want to make mention that Harvey Harrison, unfortunate news that he's ruptured an ACL in I think it was the opening minutes of the VFL game. Someone literally has come in with a voodoo doll, and we've just been injury cursed ravage this season. And Harvey showed so much. Probably should have been playing seniors, to be honest. And it's just really unfortunate, absolutely heartbreaking for a young kid. But flipping it into a positive, it's great that he's done it now as opposed to start of the season. So he's out for 9 months. So now he's got, so let's say football starts back up in March. What are we in? August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. Let's just give him 9 months ish. That's like worst case is 9 months. Best case is 7 or 7.5. Like what Damix they got back in. So he'll come back in halfway through the year, maybe a little bit less than that. So fingers crossed that's what happens for him, and just sending him so much bloody love. But now let's get into some of the lessons that I learned watching the Sydney game. So I haven't numbered this because I don't know how many lessons. I haven't written them down. But I'm going to ad-lib like I do with all of my videos. But the first lesson I want to talk about is something that I learned. Give Steele Sidebottom another year. I thought he did so well yesterday. Especially, I love him in that half-back role. He's not the quickest, but uses the ball really well. He kept Errol Goulden pretty much to nothing except for that last quarter. Obviously, Errol Goulden kicks the winning goal. You can see in the footage where Steele Sidebottom goes to run to Isaac Heaney. Isaac Quaynor doesn't cover Errol Goulden as well as he should. There wasn't a real proper handover. And then Errol Goulden kicks that winning goal. So we can't blame it too much on Sidebottom. That last quarter was just, we shouldn't have lost anyway. We know we've talked about this already. But I think that at least another year extension. He's playing like a man that wants an extension. And I can see him going on again. Senior head, it's going to be really hard to let all of these senior guys go eventually. But you can see how important he is to the structure of the club, especially, like I said, in that new position off the halfback. I thought he did really well, and I thought he did really well yesterday. He has for the last couple of weeks. So number one, I'd give Steele an extension. The second thing that I learned yesterday is I kind of like IQ on the wing and playing a little bit higher up the ground. Obviously, he snuck right in and kicked the goal, his first goal since 2022. I think he's fourth overall. But I don't mind Quaynor on the wing if they want to sort of change his position up a little bit, especially with Steele pushing off that half-back flank. Quaynor did play predominantly off that half-back flank anyway yesterday, but he did have stints on the wing. He did have stints, running into the centre and playing a little bit up forward. So if they want to just throw the magnets around in these next two games, we're obviously not going to make finals. So I want to see, I don't care if we lose these next two games, I just want to see a little bit of change, just spice it up a little bit. If that means, bringing Reef McInnes in or playing Jerry Richards and giving Elliott a break or whatever it may be. But I definitely want to see more of this Isaac Quaynor experiment up the ground. Not as a forward, but just on a wing. I think he's got the speed. He's got the body for it. I think he can be a really good link-up man. And my second lesson is that I want to see IQ on a wing pushing up the ground a little bit more. My third lesson that I learned, which is pretty obvious, is that we've got to get better at our game plan, right? We need a plan B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way up to Z, right? So for 3.5 quarters, we played a Collingwood brand of football. It was fast, it was exciting, it was 2023-esque. And the same thing happened against Carlton, same thing happened against Richmond, so the last 3 weeks. And then something changed, and of course these good teams are going to sort of come back and bite you. But it did, again, it looked like we just put the cue in the rack way too early, tried to close off the game, and when Sydney started getting on a bit of a momentum swing, we just couldn't keep up, and everything went their way. So we just need to just change it up a little bit, coaching wise, plan wise. I think there's going to be a bit of coaching changes in the off season. I haven't heard this from anywhere, but we seem to be changing positions in the coaching department every year. So I wonder what happens when Graham Wright comes back in September. I wonder if that's going to change us, or that's going to be a massive impact, because apparently he's not going to be doing the same job that he did when he came here. So that's going to be really interesting. But I do want to see a couple of coaching, if we're going to roundabout, merry-go-round, whatever it may be, change it up a little bit, because at the moment it's not working. We shouldn't be giving away a 5-goal lead in last quarters as well. Richmond, Carlton, and who do we just play? Sydney. We kicked 1 goal in each of those last quarters. So in 3 last quarters, we've kicked 3 goals total. Richmond kicked 3 goals in their last quarter. Carlton kicked 5, and I think Sydney kicked 5 as well. That's ridiculous, right? Richmond might have rolled us if they were any good. Okay, so that's stupid to begin with. So something definitely needs to change, and we can't just be... We've never been this side where we go up and then we put the queue in the rack. That's never been us, and I don't know if it can't be personnel, because personnel are out there. I still don't want to blame it on old legs. I don't want to blame it on fatigue, because I don't think it's that, because you hear so much that we're training the house there. This is, we're the fittest we've ever been coming back from a preseason. So you hear all of this stuff. So it can't be that. It could factor in a little bit. I understand it could factor in a little bit, but I think it's a little bit more than that. I think it is a bit of the coaching department. The fourth lesson I learned, it's not really a lesson that I learned yesterday, but something that's reiterated to me that I learned, is I want to see the sub rule gone. It makes no freaking sense. Not only because Joey Richards came on with 45 seconds, what the hell is he supposed to do? But I just think that just have 5 on the bench. Just have 5 on the bench, and tactical stuff, blah, blah, blah. Just have 5 on the bench. And then if someone's injured, it'll only be 4. As opposed to if someone's injured after you make a sub, it's only 3. So I just think it doesn't make any sense. They do all these other changes that nobody wants. And this one where the coaches are saying, yeah, let's do 5, let's do 5. They're like, we're not going to. It's like, what do you mean you're not going to? I just think a sub doesn't make any sense, or change it back to a concussion sub or something like that. It just doesn't make any sense. And yes, I do feel so sorry for Joe Richards. Like 45 seconds. 45 seconds. They subbed, in the end, they subbed off Billy Frampton. Not that it really mattered who they subbed off, but I'm saying, like, could you have not subbed off, I don't know, like even though Bytel played well, Ned Long played well, but could you have not subbed off one of those? Maybe even a forward, maybe even Mason Cox, just to get a little bit of speed, and just have Darcy Cameron rucking for the last 15 minutes or something. Something needed to change, and I guess that goes back a little bit to the coaching as well in lesson 3. But yeah, I feel super bad for Joe Richards. And the last lesson I learned is that after a loss, when you're sad, the best cure for a Collingwood loss depression is watching 2023 Grand Final highlights, baby. Watch the whole match again. We're still the premiers for 7 weeks. We'll always be 2023 premiers. And that keeps me going. That absolutely keeps me going. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know your lessons that you learned from yesterday's game, or maybe not the season in general. We'll do that a little bit later. Let me know down below. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets, and until next time, double shackers. I'll swoop you later. Go!